I mean, basically, this is not a like can or can't business. It's a will or won't business. So we get all the vital behaviors on how to do this, how to build ourselves, how to improve our speaking skills, how to improve our personal skills, all these different things. And gradually, by plugging into events, listening to the audios, we know we have a lot more to work with. And just improve that library in your head by moving through some of the audios and attending the meetings. And then what ends up happening is as you increase these skill sets, it ends up being super easy to make new contacts with people and to expand this business. It really is, I mean, you talked about the chicken gun in here. It really is kind of overcoming fears at the first part where you may not be really comfortable about even what you're talking about, especially if you're new, to the point of just getting better at that and increasing your posture on what we actually have our hands on here. Because what we have our hands on here is a vehicle that literally changes lives. And when you're confident about that and you know that what you're giving to other people and offering other people really makes that difference, it goes a long, long way. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to the guy who picked this audio, to John. And I'll be quiet here for a couple minutes at least. And go ahead, John.
Hey, good morning. Thanks. So let me kind of give you a background on why I picked this one. This last seminar we had, Richard and Dina Wells, they are on Dan and Lisa's team, and they are on Lyndon and Ruthie Bell's second team. So these guys are coordinator. They're blowing it up. Anyways, they're a fantastic speaker that came out this weekend, and he really hit the vital behavior. And so as I'm writing it down, it just started, okay, I got to listen to what this is at. And like Josh says, I've listened to the vital behavior now. Good morning, Joni. Texas is plugged in. So, so with the vital behavior, we, I started listening to it, and I told Josh, I said, man, we gotta do this one, because this is the one CD that we should all be listening to every month, every week, as part of your arsenal of listening. And that's what, Chris was saying on this CD is pick your couple of good CDs that you listen to and go over and so as I was doing this and writing down, the three questions he was talking about: are you doing the vital behavior? Are you doing these vital behaviors enough? And have you mastered these vital behaviors? And so I started writing all these down and going through it and realized that there are some I haven't been doing. I haven't, and that was vital behavior number one that he talked about, is dream building. Do I think about it 15 minutes a day? I don't think so. I think that, I think about a lot of things, but what I don't do is have it, posted in my office or in my car where it keeps me motivated. And that to me struck me pretty hard. And then the other thing that I was caught after going through all this, one of the things he had talked about was, it's not good enough just to listen to the CD or read a book, but you gotta study those CDs. You gotta study the books, because one of the key things that Chris has said outside of this CD is you can't bring your old self to the new life you want. And if you want to change your life and you're not happy with the past, you want to improve where you're at today, and you want to go forward to something new and better, then you got to change some habits and behaviors. And so it just wasn't good enough that you're listening or just reading. You've got to study what you did. And so when I started putting, I put all my notes, I typed it all up, and because my handwriting really stinks, so that I can read my own notes, it hit me really, really clear that I need to sit down with the CDs that I'm finding that are important to me, that touches me, that I need to move on those. And when I put it on paper, it just hit me that, you know, so one of the things that hit me the strongest was the frozen chicken story. How many people like that? Wasn't that fantastic? Well, I don't have just one barrel. I've got like a 6 barrel, you know. I've just like, when I started, I'm just going boom, boom. And I mean, I'm blowing people out of the water with frozen chickens. It was like, that was me. That was me. It was like, I can't be doing that way. I've got to go back to the basics and find a friend, find a need, and transfer a belief. It's that simple. It is just that simple. And as I was, you know, going down it realized that Dan Hawkins, our life coach, you know, he still sits down and dreams build. You know, here's a guy that can pretty much, he buys cash now. You know, you guys have probably heard him say he has a requirement for all his vehicles to at least have 500 horsepower. And he could go out and buy pretty much anything with cash today. He doesn't have to set goals, but he does. And he knows he's got to set those dreams because that's what's important. You know, I mean, your dreams will change, which is great because you hit those goals and you're moving forward. And so I hope that, you know, we come back to this CD as we go along down the road and we do those things because those vital behaviors are very important. So that's kind of where I was, you know, like Josh says, you know, I find that I talk too much as well. And I want to really hear from everybody what they got out of listening to the CD. Because I was in a meeting yesterday. I was texting people, and then I ended up in a meeting, and I have this wireless headset, and I was just listening to vital behavior during the meeting, you know, because to me it was that important. Even at my work, during my bucket carrying job, there are behaviors that I need to step up to and do, and realize that, you know, those are important as building character. If you guys remember the last leadership that Orrin was talking about, you know, having that character and these vital behaviors, I think, are the key elements to moving forward in a positive way. And then I guess the last one I'll really talk about, and this we do today, is the top 5 books. If you don't have the top 5 books, you guys got to get the top 5 books, because Dan and Lisa have told both Laura and I, you know, we've got to read those top 5 books constantly. And then listening to this CD, you got to study it until, you know, you're a senior coordinator. And that's what Dan was saying. But even when you hit those levels, you need to review those books every year to make sure your skill sets are still where you want it to be. So, and the last thing, then I'll kind of put it back to the group, is we were shown a plan the other day. We're doing these Thursday night unofficial open house plan, and we had a new person sign up, and she pretty much took over the meeting. It was pretty cool, you know, as she was definitely a choleric, and Dan was handling it just fantastic. But she was saying the key elements here. You know, she was talking about how she knows that she needs a dream board, and how she knows that, you know, her vital behavior she hasn't done, but yet she wants to see success, and she's watching other people that have gotten the success that she's talking about applying these principles. But they weren't part of life leadership or anything, but these principles are not just something that, you know, Chris or Orrin or Dan came up with. These are the principles that a lot of successful people utilize to get to where they want to be. So anyways, that's pretty much what I've got for now.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing, John. Anyone else want to throw their hand up in the air and share something they got? Angie, on fire. Let's go. Perfect. It's all you. Oh, we muted and unmuted each other. There you go.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, that dream building that John was talking about was probably one of the biggest ones. And just putting myself in it, I need to definitely get that behavior back, and having it where, like they said, driving the cars and go looking at houses. And I think we can just become so complacent with what we have and fall back into those old behaviors. And that really ties into the part on this CD that I like the most, and that I remember every time I listen to it, is that in order to make room for the good, I have to get rid of something else. I can't create these new habits without letting go of some old habits. And I think that the old habits, because they've been done so often, they're harder to get rid of. And as much as I would like to think that listening to the CDs and taking notes and, getting on the calls and doing all of these new habits that are helping me build my business, it's harder for me to maintain those if I don't get rid of some of the distractions. And getting rid of those distractions are so tough. But I look around, especially around the election time. Everybody that's like, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And I look and I see all the places that they're going. I look and see all the time that people spend on Facebook. I look and see all the time that they spent arguing and complaining and just belittling and worrying and feeling unsafe, all these different things. I'm thinking, okay, could that time have been spent doing something more productive? Have you taught yourself anything new as you are, freaking out on Facebook and social media and spending all your time arguing with other people's opinions? Spend some more time with yourself, and like you said, read those top 5 books and reread them. And I catch myself doing that a lot. I used to think that I could listen to audios as I washed dishes or mowed the lawn or in a car driving. And I can still pretty much do it in the car driving, but if I don't have that paper next to me, writing down those notes and those key thoughts, the thoughts in my head sometimes overpower what I'm reading, and I can sit and read a whole chapter and go, oh, wait a minute, what was that chapter about? Because my mind is still distracted by all these external things, either worrying about what I have to fix for supper, worrying about the noise that the kids are making, or worrying about I got to make sure I'm not late. And if I don't devote those times in a zone, if I am not in that zone, it's not going to stay in my head. And so right now it's just having to get rid of some distractions so that I have more room to maintain those good habits. And I know, like, our Saturday morning calls have become a very good habit. I missed it a whole lot last Saturday, but I had gotten up every 4 hours with my son, and I was like, okay, I have to get up again at this time, but I also have the call, and I was really torn. But again, family came first. But this is one of those habits that no matter where I'm at, I'm able to tie in, whether it's just audio, video, or both. Because I value that new habit that we've created, and that this community, even though we can't touch everybody and shake hands and high fives and hugs and things like that, this is part of that new habit of positive information coming in, versus sitting and playing on Facebook or sleeping. It's a great way, and this is proof that I have to do that for other habits that I have. I need to get rid of some of those old habits and distractions, and really just, I don't know, put it on my calendar and say, all right, every day from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m., I'm not going to be eating breakfast, getting ready. I'm going to be doing my audios during this time, and I just need to schedule that time out.
Very good. Yeah, it's this is all about, like, making time, like, and prioritizing. I mean, we all have time if we decide that we want to have that time. It's very much about prioritizing your time rather than finding a way to almost make excuses that you don't have time. And that's the way that people normally work across the board in society. Is, there's all these little things that we can say that we're busy with, but really that's what it is. It's busyness. It's not productive time. It's just like staying busy, and time is passing. And a lot of times people, like, confuse that with with maybe what the priority actually is if they're looking to move forward in their life. And over time, what ends up happening as people continue to plug into this, continue to make these habits, continue to move forward with these vital behaviors, now what ends up happening is the things that you end up missing if you don't do them are the audios and are plugging into things. And like, that's when people start making ground and continually moving forward. And then it's just a habit of moving forward, and you feel like you're moving forward, the team's moving forward. And then when you don't do it, you're like, this is weird. Like, I'm missing something. And it's nice when it feels like the thing that you're missing is more development, and you really crave that, and you're hungry for that development aspect. And that's just it's a good place to be, because it means that you're moving forward in this business, really is what that means. I know in this audio, he talks a lot about not only dream building, but a little bit about making a list. There's some script stuff at the end where, you know, he's going through, and he does a great job as far as like the making calls and just being able to answer objections quickly. And he does such a good job on that. I'm not going to go through any of that stuff. One thing that I do really like, though, going back to kind of where John opened this too, is the dream building aspect. Because remember, like, we've got an ant in our head and we've got an elephant in our head, you know, and the ant and the elephant. Our ant mind is our conscious. That's what we think with. We make kind of logical decisions with, but it only consumes a very small part of what our brain is capable of. And remember that the ant feeds off of just words, you know. It's thinking logically with words. Like, but in order to speak to the subconscious, that's why we have dream boards. That's why we need to have something like in a picture form or visible or physical, something we can touch to speak to that elephant and tell that elephant, whispering in his ear. I'm reading that book right now, actually, whispering in the elephant's ear about which way we want that elephant to charge. And a while back, like, you know, when I was originally starting to do stuff like this, it really, I hadn't bought into the whole ant and elephant thing at that time. I didn't understand. I thought dream boards were kind of silly. I was like, I don't need to spend the time to do that. But really, I mean, if you start to, actually, I'll turn my computer around here for you. If you look at my wall now and what I see when I'm sitting at my computer, let's see. There's a whole bunch of stuff up here. There's cars. There's actually the dream board that I look at the most often. There's another one over there that's, let's see, where is it? There, I've got that one. And there's that bright green one over there. And then I've got where I do the business stuff back there on the whiteboards. But having that stuff in front of you and like feeding your subconscious where you want to go and what that elephant wants to eat is a big deal. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, it's not just fluff. Like, having the physical things that you would like to achieve and places you want to go, and maybe it's family, like whatever it is for you, having that in front of you it's no joke. It's a big deal, and it shouldn't. Definitely make sure that you're doing those things, even if they feel silly at first, because they are what's going to lead that elephant to where we want it to go. So,
Josh, aren't you moving this week?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the walls that will be coming down here in the next day or so. Why, does it look like I'm not moving?
You're moving.
No,
but that's
yeah.
awesome. You didn't put your dreams away, even though you're moving across the country.
Yeah, it's actually the moving truck doesn't get here till Tuesday, so I've got a whole couple days here. My mom takes off actually tomorrow, though, so she's getting everything squared around, having last breakfast with the kids now. Before she takes off, etc. So a few last things that are happening out here in San Diego. But I'm excited to be back in the Midwest. I mean, Shauna is a perfect example. She got a hat on. She's out. It looks cold. I'm like, man, what am I doing moving to Chicago now? But anyway, that's the deal. I'm looking forward to being back and actually in closer proximity to some of you. Not down in Texas with you, Joni, but I'm sure it's a little nicer down there. But I will be moving to the cold. And one other thing that I wanted to cover, though, real quick is, because this is something that I learned from a different mentor of mine over the course of time. And actually, you can look up this video if you want. It's called The Amazing Cash Generating Whiteboard. And it's kind of it's a system of like list making and being able to cross people off the list and just keep those things straight. Because one thing that I didn't do well when I was starting this is I didn't keep track of a good list. I didn't know where the people on that list were at in the process of moving people through some of these vital behaviors. So again, it's called The Amazing Cash Generating Whiteboard. And literally, all like the concept is that you're starting with people in a list that are all at the starting point, and then instead of like crossing them off, like since this is a step process, like you want them to watch a video, you want to, like if you're going to email the video, whatever your process is, it's just taking one person from the list and then moving them to step 2, and then if they've done with step 2, then moving them to step 3, and then hopefully either then getting to a decision point where they're either going to join the team or then they're off the list. And it's good to be able to cross people off the list because that means that you've been able to go through the process and you know how they feel and like where they're at in the process. So that's one thing that's been helpful. Amazing cash generating whiteboard. If you look that up, actually the last name on it will be Altvater. That's ALTVATER, Altvater. If you Google amazing cash generating whiteboard and then Altvater, there's a few 5 or 6 minute videos that'll pop up. And from a different mentor of mine that was the #1 income earner at a different company a while back, just very, very good information about moving through people and using lists. Very complementary to what we do. So FYI, another tool there. But anyone else want to say a few words here before I open up my notes and continue blabbering?
Actually,
John, go ahead.
yeah, let me tag a little bit more because as we've created these Saturday mornings to like Angie was saying, even though I got to get up at early on a Saturday morning, unlike you guys in the Midwest and 2 hours ahead of us, I look forward to it. I get up, I get to see you guys. And one of the things that Richard Wells said last week that it's where I'm at, right? You guys on this screen, San Diego, soon to be Chicago, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Whitewater, Lake Hills, Texas. This team, we're all over the place, and where my second team is really here in Salem, and so one of the things that that Richard was saying is that reaching out to this group that's on the call today is really important, and keep in touch, and like Joni's in Lake Hills, Texas. There's not another dream fighter down there. So she's down there by herself, motivating herself to go to a Tuesday Open. And it really struck me that we need to find a way to keep this group motivating and doing some training within the system. And so Richard was talking about how Lyndon Bell was such an encourager from Atlantic City that would call Richard and Dina up and talk to them and got them motivated and got them to go to a Tuesday. And it just so happens, their Tuesday included Manasseh Fotu, and him and himself is he's such a motivator, and even Richard said right away he knew he was in the right spot. And so what I'm suggesting to everybody here, if they want to do that, is that, as part of these Saturday mornings, or maybe make it a different call. I don't know. It's a group decision, but it doesn't have to be made today. We can kind of text and talk about, making some of these like doing a dream board, kind of doing a modified business launch, doing a dream board, or to everybody talking about their dream and where they want to be, and then then doing a names list and making sure that you've got a current name list. Like I remember it, so it's probably my car. I've redid my name list from scratch again, and put follow up, maybe, and no way on next to the name, and didn't realize that I've now got about a 260 name list that I use for me, either between Facebook and my cell phone. And out of that, I've only got probably 10 people where I don't have any information, whether it's their cell phone or their email. And so those are the kinds of things, those vital behaviors that as we're doing this, making sure those are one of the things you're keeping up. and doing that. So so that's why I'm bringing this up now to the group. As much as reviewing these CDs and talking about it, is making sure that, we're getting something productive and that, for those people that are out there, I know Dee Dee lives in Milwaukee, and we got people tying in with her to take her to Green Bay and stuff. And, but sometimes, being at your own home at your comfort level, with your pajamas on and being able to do stuff, might be a little bit better on Zoom, especially we're all over the country now. So, anyways, more to come on that. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, I think that's good, John. It's we definitely can modify some things on here and do a few different things, whether it be training calls or a dream building or list making, any of those things that we can assist as a group. Definitely glad to do that kind of stuff. Some things will be a little more practical, so that they're a little more action step oriented compared to like what we do here as we're going through some of the information. Definitely glad to take anyone's suggestions or even create kind of basically a call that's oriented around basically doing a little more action step stuff. I think that's a good idea. I've been doing these calls now for a little while. They are very, very, very helpful. I definitely enjoy seeing your shining faces every Saturday when I get up, and no matter where you're at. And Dee Dee, it sounds like we're going to meet in person at some time in the very near future. I'll be moving to within an hour of you, so that'll be fantastic. Looking forward to that. Love the energy. But yeah, I'm excited for that. We're meeting at a very kind of a transitional time. So, but anyway, I was looking through my notes here and other things that I had. There are some basics just on booking plans, and booking plans and getting people to an event are some of the biggest things that are in this business. I mean, that's what makes it go, right? So, some of the things he went over, like just some of the simple scripts, like, "Hey, John, this is Josh. Did I catch you at a good time?" And really, that "did I catch you at a good time" is the green light to move forward. I know so often if you're making a call and you don't do that, then you may be kind of just like puking on them essentially information that they don't have time to listen to, and they're trying to get you off the phone if you haven't kind of okayed that, do you have time right now, type of thing. And it's really just a simple question, but just implementing that one thing makes such a big difference, because it shows that you're flexible to work on their time, you respect their time, and it's just that one question goes a really, really long way into how successful you're going to be with whether or not they're going to get to a meeting with you, or whether they're going to book a one-on-one with you. So that's just one question I wrote down in here. That's probably the most important question that I've run into. And one of the last things that I put on here was very entertaining, but it's one of my favorite concepts actually in this business, is just talking about posture. Like, it doesn't matter like what you're doing necessarily as far as like will people follow you. The thing that matters most is how much do you believe in what you're doing to help people want to follow you. And it's, are you buying their excuses, or is your posture big enough in what you're doing, and do you believe enough in what you're doing that they want to follow you? And they're like, this person's on fire. Like, I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about. They said a few different things. I have no idea what they're talking about, freedom or leadership, whatever. But this person's fired up, and I'm fired up because they're fired up, and I want some of what that person has. And so that is really, when that comes across to people that you're talking to, like, just the excitement and just the belief goes further than even the words that you say or the next step. So, because it is all about, if you look at go back to the checkpoint race in Pack 4 from Chris Brady, that transfer of feeling or transfer the emotion, that's the part where it goes from I have information and I have an opportunity for you to are they going to actually take some action on it? It's all about that transferring of a feeling. I love listening to, there's that one, Lead Yourself with Posture, that Oren talks about, where he got his posture actually from a relationship book, a marriage book. It just, he always says, I've got the cookie. It's like, I know what I have. I don't know what you're looking for, but I've got the cookie. So if you want the cookie, you follow me, because I'm the one that's in control of this. If I can fit you into my schedule, then that is very lucky for you, because my time is valuable. And all those things they don't need to be said, but when you know that you've got the cookie, that that person's going to want into your schedule. And it's such a different feeling to have people wanting to be in your schedule compared to you wanting to insert yourself into their schedule. It's the value perception there from the person that is doing the presenting, the person that's listening, all comes across on who's got the cookie. So lead yourself with posture. I've got the cookie. I love that one. Big fan of that one. Lead yourself with posture is the audio for that. But anyway, it talks about getting mugged. You know, it's who's the ones that get mugged on the street? It's the people that are walking with their head down and like they look kind of mopey. And it's like Igor gets mugged all the time. Ever see anybody mugging Tigger? No way. And they're not messing with Owl either. They're fired up. So those two. It's Eeyore though. That's he mentions that's why he's got the bandage on his tail. You know, he's getting mugged all the time because he has no posture. But anyway, I thought that was pretty clever reference. Anyone else? Russell raised his hand to itch his nose. So you want to add anything in here, Russell? I haven't heard your voice yet. I like to hear your voice. So I'm going to unmute you.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I got you.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of guilty of not building at least 15 minutes a day either. I think you do, but when you sit there and think about it, no, I guess I don't. When you listen to the CD, and I hadn't listened to it for a while, and I didn't really realize that he had on there how to contact also. You know, I was pretty. One of the first things that struck me, whoa, I haven't listened to this in a while. What you think, you know what something's about, and you just shut it off, and I don't need to listen to that. You know, it's just about, you know, showing the plan. Well, it's way more than that. So I'm guilty as charged on that.
Maybe you can relate to this then, Russell. Would you say that there's one big point about CDs and audios that I think you kind of just described essentially is, you know, we've listened to these CDs at one point in time, maybe it was a while back, but then, you know, by plugging into these calls, attending events, and moving the business forward, you listen to the same CD again, like months down the road, maybe you haven't listened to it for a while, and all of a sudden it's like there's new information on there that it just applies differently to you now that because of kind of the growth that you've seen. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. You know, it's not just this CD, but yeah, even other things in life too. I mean, you kind of shut it off, and then once you revisit that area, like you said, oh, I didn't realize that was on there, or I should have been doing this. I knew, you know, but so yeah, these calls on Saturdays and you know, like this Saturday for the CD, it refreshes your brain and you know, learn more about it. And I like how you said it. I always tell people about when you're making calls or whatever, you know, knowing that you have the cookie, you know, having that posture, and they can't hurt you like Chris says. As long as you follow the script, they can't hurt you. There really isn't nothing to be afraid of. If you just go by that, you're not losing friends. You know, they're either interested or they're not. You know,
it's a good point. Yeah, because it's I think people are worried that they're going to feel like they're going to chase people away, and if really, I mean, if you're kind of following some of these simple rules and you're just you're being polite and you're excited about what you have and you're not chasing people. I mean, what's going to happen is as you transition kind of that mindset, you're going to have people that are chasing you in a good way rather than you feeling like you're chasing them because you've got the cookie. Who doesn't like cookies?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Angie, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you know, like where I'm stuck at is I have the make a friend, I have the identify that need and fulfill the need. You know, I have that, and then it just stops. You know, in working that plan. Yeah, and Dee Dee's like, I'm on you. I'm right here. I'm right with you. You know, so I have those first three. I just can't get that fourth.
Fourth one's the toughest one, probably. Yeah, it sounds like Dee relates. I think we can probably all relate to that to some degree. And
I have people contacting me saying, you know, I need more of what you have, you know, and they're telling me they need me, and they need this, and we have their need, and I know what they need, and they know what they need, and they know I have what they need. And then they just poof, like, oh, I don't think I really need what I think I need. I know I need, you know, and it's just like, and, you know, Josh, you and I have had that conversation is, you know, I have my names list is just like building, and people are calling and pretty much saying, hey, can you put me on your names list? I'm like, yeah, sure. And, you know, and on top of that, you know, I have Dan and Lisa Hawkins coming again. And, you know, and then of course I'm like, well, Dan and Lisa Hawkins should be on your dream board. And not only is it on my dream board, but they're going to be in my living room. But now you don't really have that need, or I don't know, I guess that part of the plan, I'm just not using the word failing at, but it's definitely dragging.
It's I would say, and John, I'm going to let you talk here in a second. I just see that you had your hand up. One thing while I have it, because I'll lose this talk, is basically how direct are you at that point? Because a lot of times if you draw out that part of the process very long, rather than just being direct, like, okay, well, you basically have told me this, here is your next step, like, and just be really confident on what the next step is. And like, I know that you're looking for this, reiterate their dreams back to them. You've said X, Y, Z, like you're looking for, you know, a way to, you know, get out of debt, like whatever, or, you know, spend more time with family. It's always good to, like, first get to know your dreams. Like, if you're getting a dream out of them, you're moving through the process in a good way. So it ends up being a point where, like, do you really care about these dreams? You just told me that you have these dreams, and you told me that these are the things you didn't like. So it's a lot of times people want to kind of step around because they don't want to feel like they're selling something to someone. They don't want that feeling. So it's like, well, I know what your next step is. You've seen the changes in me. That's why we're having this conversation. Like, I literally know exactly what your next step is. Are you ready to make those changes? And then just see, I mean, that's the thing. It's just, if you kind of beat around the bush at that point, you end up running in circles. And I've definitely been there. And I've gotten to, and that's where the whole posture thing comes in too. Like, I know your next step. Are you ready to go? Because let's go. I'm fired for you. Boom. And then it's just, it's very direct at that point.
I share that, you know, I share the audio of that first night pack. And they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize that's what it was. And then get them to engage in a conversation after that. And, you know, when I say, you know, that we're working with the leadership development company, and they're, you know, they're like, oh, you know, that is exactly what I wanted. You know, that's what I want to do. This is what, you know, I need in my life, and I need more leadership in my life. I need, you know, to help build whatever that they're building or whatnot. And then that I've gotten to come to our trial opens, and then their comment is, oh, well, I didn't realize it was that. And then I people that were contacting me back and forth that came to our opens won't answer. And part of it is I just have to accept that it's not part of their dream right now. But, you know, I need to, and some of it is, you know, I need to be more direct, but I also need to just let it go. But when every single person on my names list is in that same spot at the end, you know, even some that are watching the video, they right away they're like, oh, well, I thought it was something different. And I don't know.
Do like a feel, felt, found type of approach. Like, I totally understand where you're at. I felt the same way. Like, but basically, like, right now, they don't know what they don't know. So the only way to get past that is to attend an event. Like, so it's just all like, you know, I felt that, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, to recognize that. I felt the exact same way when I was getting started, but I really didn't know, like, what I was making a decision on until I got in the same room as XYZ. You have to learn how to talk. So that's you know, that's a great way to go. And, like, don't make a decision. You just help them, like, basically, I know you're making a decision off of something you may not completely understand right now. The best, and literally I have, like, the co-founders of the company coming to present, like, what we're doing and how we're making a difference and why and how we're getting people to insert dream for whatever they said, in getting to from point A to point B. So just come and check it out. If it's not for you, no big deal, but at least give yourself a chance to get to those dreams that you just told me about. And that's all you can do. And it's and if you continue to move forward, as your posture stays the same and you just continue to move forward, what you've created now is a pipeline of people that that now are kind of in that maybe list. You know they want it. They just don't know that they want what you have. They don't understand yet. They don't see the full picture. You just keep creating that pipeline. And a lot of those maybes, as you continue going forward, I mean, people sign up 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later. Like some of the people that I've added, like I showed this to a year ago, but I didn't know what I was doing at that point, and I didn't know what I had my hands on. But now because they've kind of followed me, they're like, okay, well, I see what you do, and and they follow that process. That pipeline will start converting people over to actually checking it out. So it's all about staying on just that continual staying forward and moving forward and being confident with what you have. That all that stuff will start converting that pipeline, and you just want to keep adding to that pipeline. And some people, 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 will go right away, and then I guess hopefully. But yeah, so some of them will go right off the bat, some of them will come later, some of them never will. And that's just keep that posture moving forward, and that's what will end up growing the numbers. Hopefully that helped. John, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, Angie, both what you and Josh were saying is, we're experiencing the posture of getting people there, and I can't remember if I read this or I heard it from Richard, and I'm not a very good note taker, but I'm telling you, when Richard came in, I wrote like 4 pages of notes, and that to me was amazing because, like I said, my handwriting just stinks, and I can't read my own notes. But one of the things he talked about was the ant and the elephant. Now we all kind of know what that's about, right? Your ant controls your conscious, and your subconscious is controlled by your elephant. And once you get those two aligned in a positive way, then you're running hard. But then he said, and I'll give him the credit because I can't think of where else I heard it from, but what Richard said was, there's also a negative side to the ant and the elephant. Your ant might start to think about, I need to do this, but your elephant is in the background saying, no, you can't do it. No, this is something, and all of a sudden, so it's, as you're talking to people, I am really hitting their dream. If I find out what their dream is, I hit it hard. If I find out what their dread is, I hit that twice as hard, because by the time you get to the 4th step, Angie, it's like, it's almost like you want to pull the gloves off and say, listen, you've told me that you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. You've told me that, time is important, and you want to spend more time with your kids or your grandkids. That's a big one for some of these folks that are, looking at that retirement age, but yet they financially can't pull it off. And I'm running into people that say, I'm working till I die. And I was like, oh man. So when somebody tells me that, I said, well, do you want to work till you die, or do you want to, be able to retire within a 2 to 5 year period and have income coming in? And meanwhile, you're developing a relationship, you're developing a good financial habits. And so as I'm pulling on that and attacking that dread of string, then I start to get people to, okay, I want to learn more. And there's a point where you, like Chris says, your posture is, if you don't want to come, cut them loose. What do you say? Flush them, like down the toilet. And if you really don't flush them, you put them back on the shelf as your maybe, and look at them for your 2nd and 3rd and 4th leg. And right now their key may not be their 1st leg, because as just like Darren and Sonia, they're starting to understand how this is working. They've hit the leader level. They're moving on. And I get frustrated, and I'm like going, all right, tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'm talking to Darren, I'm talking to Dan, and they're just saying, just keep the basically these vital behaviors going and repeat it over and over. Eventually, you're gonna grab a traction, and you'll move forward. Is it frustrating? Absolutely, because you've got stuff here that everybody needs. It's like hearing the story. I think Dan said this one. It's like you have the cure for cancer. You've got the cure for somebody to get out of the financial cancer or relationship cancer, where if you apply these principles, they'll get better. But yet they still live in a 95% world. Either their ant is so busy and their elephant is parked and enjoying where it's sitting and just telling you, you can't do it. This is not what you need. And yet, you know, again, I go back to, you can't bring your old self to the new life. And but it is just rotating that. Eventually, you know, like Josh said, you might show 10 people, and if you get one, then that's what you're building off of. So, yeah, no, I think we're all there with you as far as the frustration and you know, especially when I'm looking at this going, this is really a simple process, you know, and the information, if you just wrap your, you know, self around it, you'll get to where you want to be. So I've got to get going, but I want to leave one more thought for everybody as we go this, you know, at the last major, and as simple as this is becoming, you know, who cares what the question is, right? The answer is power player. As we all know, we go power player, things start to become free. Your seminars are free. Your marketing system becomes free as long as you get the power player. So the key element is that standing order ticket is getting, you know, people on that and attending the seminars, because that's where it's at, and the marketing system. So those are the elements that are important right now. The standing order tickets for the seminar will determine what you get paid, and where you get paid from is the marketing system. So the marketing system pays the community for those pieces. So I just wanted to leave that, you know, and have a great week and happy Turkey Day. And Josh, be careful on your move and everything. And but anyways, I'll listen. Then I got to go.
One last plug I've got here. For those of you on the marketing system, remember the scoreboard call is tonight with Warren. If you don't have that link and you're on the marketing system, let me know, because this is plugging in on the regular stuff like this call, like, and being on the call with Warren and kind of feeling that vibe and getting his energy. I mean, it's I wish I had Warren's energy and posture. I'm working on it, but that dude is pretty unstoppable when it comes to that kind of stuff. So being able to plug into that call is a big deal. And so hopefully I see you guys on there. Warren's got one thing. John, I understand if you have to go, no worries. I'm going to unmute Warren here. What do you got for me, buddy?
Hey, just one thing. We do these Zoom calls on Saturday. Everybody has a cell phone. You could do a Zoom call on dream building. Everybody being at a point where they're dream building, either in a car, walking through a house, looking at land, riding horses, whatever. But everybody should put their dreams on Saturday, or one of our Saturday Zoom calls, so we can all see. They help inspire each other.
Sure, that's a great idea. It is a vital piece of this process. She's been writing her dreams the whole time we've been talking. She's got pages of them, and so yeah, it is a big piece, and not only that, but it does help us get to know each other better and what we're striving for. Great idea, Warren. Anyone else before any closing words before I? John's got one more. He can't resist.
No, I'm leaving. I just.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Hey, I'm glad everybody tied in, and Dee, I'm excited, and we'll talk more. Bye, Joni. Love you.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Fired up, John.